What up, guys? Quick little review here for a little song I just heard from 6 Feet Under. Little background information: 6 Feet Under is a kind of a groove lane, aka the death and roll style of a band where it takes like the death metal vocals, mix them in with some hard rock and riffs. I just heard the new song with them called Formaldehyde. Holy shit. Really good. Really good. Just want to put that out there right now. So, fuck. 6 Feet Under has been around since the 90s. They were formed from the departure of Chris Barnes, who was the lead vocalist for Cannibal Corpse, and Steve Swanson, who is a guitarist for Obituary. As it was originally just a side project of Barnes, but after it started to become a much more serious thing, he decided to make it a full-time band. And over the course of the years, they've released some pretty good material for them. And but the last two albums, Commandment and Death Rituals, have been lackluster. But this time they sound reinvigorated with some new blood. To start off, last year they had both Chimera guitarist, who are their names? Matt DeReeves and Rob Arnold joined for part-time positions, but then they eventually left Chimera and went to 6 Feet Under full-times. Matt DeReeves left and is now the bassist for Fear Factory after Baron Stroud left Fear Factory to be in 3 Inches of Blood, which is kind of sad since Fear Factory is one of my favorite bands, but oh well. They also brought in a new bassist, new drummer, so they completely reinvigorated their lineup since last year, getting rid of older members such as Terry Butler and Greg Gall, who were one of the few original members. I'm sad that they left, but this is still a really good point for the band because from what I've heard on Formaldehyde, they sound reinvigorated. Over the course of the last 2 albums, that groove sound that they've been going with since the mid-90s has really just gone more repetitive than it could possibly be. And it was sad, but whatever. So now they brought in some new blood, and I tell you what, this really invigorates the band. Still have Rob Arnold from Chimera on guitars. He joined full-time. Jeff Hugel, you may know him as an ex-Brain Drill bassist. He was really intricate in that Ultra Complex band. And we'll get into his stuff in a minute. And Kevin Talley, who's worked with the likes of Chimera, Misery Index, and Dying Fetus. So, Formaldehyde, this is coming off their new album, Undead, which is coming off May 22nd. And what can I say about this? Holy shit, this is fantastic. I've been listening to it for a little bit. Really great song. Let's start out with what's new in the whole band's sound since Death Rituals. First off, Chris sounds amazing. That ultra brutal like growl is finally back. He hasn't been this deep since freaking Tomb of the Mutilated, back with CC, and it just sounds like he sounds like a beast, to say short. You still have Steve Swanson in the band, so there's still some original members left. He's not an original member, but one of the more profound members in the band, like Chris. He's bringing more of tremolos in here. The guitar work is much faster than the last few 6 Feet Under records, and I think that's also partial to Rob Arnold, who in Chimera had that same groove element, but were a much more faster band. So the guitar play between them involves like your traditional like old school death metal like harmonies and tremolo picks, and the grooves that 6 Feet Under are known for, and the guitars are still there. They're still viable, but they sound refreshed, revigorated, and truly pissed off. Maybe the biggest change to the band is actually in the drumming department, where Kevin Talley, their other drummer, was an original member, Greg Gall. He was a good drummer for not being like an over-the-top speed freak and focusing more on rhythms, but it just unfortunately got repetitive. Kevin Talley in the band sounds revigorated. He brings in things like ultra-fast double bass, blast beats, all the traditional death metal things that he's worked with bands like Dying Fetus and Misery Index, and brings them in fully and fantastically. I'm loving the drumming on Formaldehyde, and I'm sure it's going to be grand, this track. Now for the downsides. Now Jeff Hewells, I actually think is a downside here. The only reason I'm saying that is because I've listened to Brain Drill, their first album, Apocalyptic Feasting, and that was a really good album. His bass skills were ultra technical, fantastic bassist. I just wish he would bring something into this band to help bring forwards the band a little bit. They're sounding reinvigorated and more technical, faster, just focusing on making the best 6 Feet Under record to date. And I just really hope in the album he kind of picks up a little bit. I would really like to see him like show off his skills a little bit more. For God's sakes, he was in Brain Drill. But overall, that's the only real complaint I have there. I'm sure he'll have a couple spots where he'll shine out. This track is really great. The band sounds reinvigorated. They're in a year where we already have awesome albums for coming out from like Job for a Cowboy, Cannibal Corpse, with new albums coming out from like Nile, Behemoth, and Whitechapel. It's really great to hear. It's really great to hear like a classic, like 6 Feet Under, who've been underrated for the last few years for not being brutal enough. Finally, being brutal enough in short terms. They sound fantastic with the new members. Kick ass. Love the new track. Subscribe and comment. Peace.